Hey y'all, and welcome back to another video by UmbrasDarkness. In today's video, you guys, we're going to go over a little bit more of an advanced guide for pets. I know that there's been a lot of questions and people want some answers, so we're going to go ahead and look at all of the details that I can and try and answer as many questions as I've gotten. The first thing that people have really asked is what's going on inside the pen. So every day, up to 7 of your pets can produce hearts. And then the pets that you gather for the day can also produce hearts. So in order to accomplish this, after you've gathered 7 pets with hearts, you want to go ahead and take off 5 pets that have been tamed. Now, when you do this, you want to make sure that the pets that you take off have an intimacy level of at least level 2, which is something we'll get into later. You also want to go ahead and clean the cage. This can be described as leaves, like I just clicked. It can also be poop and things like that. However, I only see 1 piece. It kind of generates randomly. There's usually 3 to 4 pieces throughout the day. So now that we've hidden 5 of our pets and we've talked about closing the sanctuary, this kind of leads me directly into the next part, which is capturing a pet. Ideally, you want to search for the highest level pet. So you can either use this search function, which will show you the highest level pet possible, or what a lot of us do is we scroll out on the map and we look for the pet symbol, which is this symbol right here, and then we'll scroll in to be able to determine what pet it is, or on your phone, zoom in, right? But you'll kind of notice mannerisms as you scroll along. Like this one is going to be a panda or a bear. See? So this is a flying pet, but a flying pet is usually moving back and forth and it'll break like landscape sometimes. You can see how it's breaking the landscape here. And that's how you can kind of tell that it's a flying pet. And again, it's always safe to be able to just look for level 24. If you're in Athern, you can look for a level 25. You're limited by the same level as the other things like dark creatures, dark patrols. Highest level has the highest chance or probability of getting 1 2-star things, specifically getting a 1-star or 2-star talent. And you can't replace the talent in any world. So you want to try and find a pet with a 1 or 2-star talent. So even though this is like my pride and joy,
this is my pride and joy,
and I have arrogance on it, and I have the advanced form of arrogance, right? Terrible arrogance. It's technically not ideal because arrogance is only 0-star, and I could be doing so much more if I had a 1 or 2-star arrogance, or even a 3-star, which currently the only way in game to be able to find a 3-star is out in the wild. You can't find it inside of purchasing options, which means really hunting level 25 pets. So for the sake of making this video easier, I'm just gonna search for any snow peak rock. Oh, this one happens to be a level 24. Perfect. And when I go and search for pets, because I'm full T5, well, mainly full T5. If we look at my cav, I'm 11k off. But because I'm full T5, I typically just send out cav. But you have to adjust your power level accordingly. All right, so now that we're here, the way that you capture, you can either attack by right-clicking it or dragging it like you normally do. Otherwise, you have to click the pet directly and capture it, which I find it really odd that they didn't adjust it so that way it would normally capture for specifically pets. The lizards obviously are artifact things, so I understand that being attacked. But this, in my opinion, should be auto capture. But anyways, you can multi-select to auto capture or to capture it, or you can click capture and send one deployment after another. I'm gonna multi-select because that's easier for me here. And when I do this, eventually, so you can see this symbol over here where it's ganashing. That means that I'm trying to capture it, not attack it. And then when it goes to do its stun, I will show you something else real quick. So here you can see it using its stun. And now my regular cav are still in range, so it stuns, but this one's blue and is not going to rejoin the fight. So after it's blue, you can see it's no longer trying to fight. I can right click it, and it's no longer auto attack, it's auto capturing because the fangs are above it. Now it's purifying the behemoth, and then I've captured it. So now that I've captured it and I have closed out 5 of the pets, I now can collect those 2 stars for it. It raises the intimacy of this pet. And then in here, I can click on it and I can figure out what it has. This is Swift Revenge. It's not something I'm interested in because I want this passive right here, right? I want the concentration because a pet's not real unless it has its talent. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to click confirm. I'm going to let it out into the wild. And I got lucky and I got the skill. So as you saw, that pet went up to the level or was level 1 intimacy, didn't fill all the way. But pets, in order to be deployed, require level 2 intimacy. They also require to be inside of your pet pen. So I have these 2 pets out, and if I go here to try and equip I don't know, or a snow rock, it says that the affection level needs to be level 2. Or here, reach affection level 2 to reach your war pet in battle. But if I go back, that was my only epic polar bear, right? If I go back, I put it back out to taming, you can see it has affection level 2. So it has to be out here and taming in order to be deployed on the battlefield, which does mean we are limited to 7 pets that we can have auto-equipped our heroes and be able to deploy on the battlefield without much hassle. On the topic of intimacy, you can also give them gifts, and the different type of gifts will increase their level of intimacy. And you can see here that the food that they eat is unique to each pet. Now, some of them, like, right, both the drakes eat the same things, some of them don't. So that's something that you also need to pay attention to. The next thing that I want to talk about while we're still inside of the pen is regen. So you can access the training menu in multiple different ways, but regenerating adjusts 2 different things. It adjusts the number of skills you can have, and it adjusts these different levels. So when you're looking at this, you want to pay attention to these symbols and see where their levels are. So you can see here, my strength is very low, and make sure that you actually care about it. Enemy Legion defense penetration plus 0.3%. Well, my mages are usually going to target infantry. That sounds great. I don't necessarily want to get rid of that skill, but you also want to pay attention to the other skills that you may eventually equip to the pet, right? So even though that skill sounds awesome, there's a chance that you don't want it. So plan out the skills that you want to equip to your bear or to your pet before you really worry about regenerating. For the sake of this video, I'm still going to regenerate this just so that way we can kind of talk about it. And when I regenerate, as you can see, the levels go up. So I would never accept this because the intelligence went down, and the passive and the advanced version, or the ultimate form of that, is both intelligence. So this impacts me off. Even though strength went up, intelligence going down is a no bueno. Not to mention that, but the skill slots went down from 5 to 3. And the ideal pet has preferably 6 skill slots, if not more, but 5 is totally acceptable. So you can regen based off of the number of potions you have or regen pots you have. And you can just regen to try and find whatever you're looking for. So strength plus, but intelligence down, don't want that. Strength up, intelligence down, don't want that. See how I'm ignoring the rest of these? That's because they don't matter, because my skill abilities are not applicable to those pets. Strength and intelligence down, strength and intelligence down, strength and intelligence down. Even if I get a legendary and the intelligence and strength goes down, I don't necessarily want it, because it would depend on how far they go down to determine the multiplicative that the pets get based off of the rank of that pet. And if I ever find one, which it doesn't look like I'm going to, but if I ever find one that I want to keep, I can click the save. Oh, 22.22, but it only has 2 skill slots, so I'd automatically lose a skill. Not going to keep that. Definitely want to keep 5. So that's another reason that I have to regen. And unfortunately, I didn't find a skill that I want. I can close out of this and totally be fine. If I go back to regen and I'm like, oh, I want this, the previous one that you regened will always be there. Unless, of course, you click slave, just like this one. I'd click save on this because my intelligence and my luck were at a level that I was happy for. And that's why I left it as it was. Now, when we look at their attributes, they have different max or base values. The bar can technically go all the way up. I don't know of a way where we can determine what the bar, like what it could max out at, right? Like I could eyeball this. Okay, this is 22. It looks like it's just over half, so maybe max is 40. But until we have screenshots of them being max, I would be hesitant to state that that is the max, if that makes sense. And then here you can see a little bit of definitions. Our attributes are divided into S, A, B, C rank. Ignore the minuses. It's how they type it. Numerical values may differ between 2 attributes of the same rank. Totally understandable. Attributes are determined by the base value and growth rate. So this is really important. So base value, growth rate, and war pet level -1. Okay, so when a skill reads, for example, that it's gonna your legion also gains stack of fierce mark. With every 150 points of luck, your legion gains an additional 1 stack. Well, if I look at my luck's 21. How is that possible? So the reason that that's possible is kind of that formula. And if you click in here and you go to it and you go to that pet, you can click on the quality and you can see that legendary is going to give it plus 30%. So that's the that additional value, the additional growth rate that's going to happen. And then also the level -1 is going to give it. Now, in order to level up your pets, it's the same as it is with heroes. You can level it up to level 50 with just PvE content. And once it gets to level 50, you can level it up through PvP after the Augur Stone unlocks. Now, as we're looking at skills, the way to buy skills, there are 2 different ways. You can either go to this auction market, which is the exact same as the other way to look at it, but it has a filter button, so that's kind of nice, right? You can go to like, oh, I want to look at 2-star, they're meant for magic, and you know, I'm looking at the strength, right? Okay, there's no skills that match my criteria. Okay, well, I want an all-rounder and not magic, right? And here you can see only shield penetration does that. So that kind of shows for my blue Sapphire Faedrake that I wouldn't want to go with strength as a second attribute because I can't get 3 of them. So that's another easy way to define what I'm looking for for the Sapphire Faedrake. So I would not want to, in fact, go with strength as one of my abilities. Now, another way is you can click training skills and you can see them like this. But again, then you're stuck clicking through and you have to find all of them. Now, when you're looking at all of these skills, it can be kind of intimidating to do it, which is why I look at the menu instead. And you can go through this other menu and filter it out. So for the purpose of this video, I'm going to go back to the other menu because it's less intimidating and it's easy to filter it all out. This menu also keeps track of something that is very important, which is seasonal purchase limit. This says that I can only collect 3 stars, 5 2 stars, and unlimited 1 and 0 stars. So it's very important to keep track of that, because even if you fail applying that skill, it still counts as having purchased that skill. I'll show you later on in the video what that means. For now, let's look at, 2-star. I want to look at that Sapphire Faedrake, so let's look at magic. And 2 of their abilities was intelligence, right? So Forceful Pain Balloon was intelligence. Let's see what these other ones say. 40% chance to cast a War Pet Magic Rage skill against 2 seconds after 1% casting. Damage, heal, shield effects is 15%. Okay. Crit damage plus 10% when Legion deals magic War Pet skill damage. Okay. War Pet skill shield by plus 6%. Not interested in that. And this one has to do with ice orbs. So follow-up kind of sounds really nice. Elemental Harmony, I don't know if I'm really interested in it. Crit damage is really, really nice, but I don't know necessarily what the crit rate is of other things. There's nothing in the game that states base crit rate. So unless you take it as a talent, this doesn't necessarily do much. Now, when looking at this, the numbers can be intimidating to buy a 2-star. Again, it's limited to 5 2-stars every season, and it counts whether or not it fails or passes. And the way that you can only get them is through here. And when you look at it, it's purchase or exchange sale. So obviously the pay to win players have, the first purchase double, and they have, the ability to spend money on it. But if you're not a spender, the only way to get this is to go here and sell. I don't know, here, click sell, and let me remove these filters. I can click here and I can sell it. Now, this is why hunting higher level pets is so important, especially for a free-to-play player, because they could sell higher level pets skills that they get back when they release them to the wild in order to get to higher numbers. I'm not necessarily saying you're going to get to 1400 5 times in a season, but if you're hunting 5 pets a day and you get 2 skills out of every 5 pets, because you can get other things besides that, you're gonna get more and more coins to be able to buy maybe 1 or 2 2-stars. Now, when I want to look at beyond building a pet and what skills I want, I also need to, when I go to training and skills, in order to get it, I need to be able to randomly get it in here. Now, the rules say that it will be randomly placed wherever an existing skill slot. Empty skill slots are more likely to be used if they are available. There have been numerous reports that the skill slot that's preferred is skill 1, so we think that there's something wrong with the coding. However, I'm still going to show you how it kind of looks for like a fail and abandon. So for the sake of the video, I'm not ready to dedicate buying one of my 2-star skill slots because I'm not sure what I want to do. I want to be able to hunt pets, and I'll probably buy the rest of my 2-star skill slots towards the end of the season, when hopefully I get more pets with a 1-star talent. The reason that I invested into my Faedrake before, my Berserk Faedrake, is because I'm just like so in love with that pet. Not saying it's necessarily the best, I'm just in love with it. So for the purpose of this video, I'm just gonna go ahead and try to buy this follow-up. So when I click buy and learn, it's automatically gonna buy and try to appropriate from this menu. It's gonna buy and try to appropriate to whatever pet that I'm looking at. And as you can see, even though it says it would prefer these, it goes here. So I'm gonna click save because that went somewhere that I wanted. But then if I go to this menu and I try to buy something else, right? So we're gonna go back to 0 stars. We're gonna go back to magic, and if I click up on Forceful Harmony and I buy it here, it just goes into my inventory and I can use it on whatever pet I want in the future. And then I can just click training skills, and then when I go to the 0 star, I go down to Forceful Harmony, it'll just say owned 1, and then I just click it, I click learn, and as you can see, it went back to that skill 3 slot instead of anywhere random. For me, I am not gonna learn this. The crit damage plus 3%, 3.6% when a legion deals magic war pet skill damage is not important to me on this pet. It will be more important to me on a different pet. The follow-up is the skill that I currently have on my pet. That would mean that actually, if it would have landed in a good place, Elemental Harmony would have been great, right? However, that would have been my 3rd intelligence, or my 4th intelligence. And the reason that I can't have 4 intelligence on here is if we go inside of skills, it says that you can only have 3 skills of the same type, which is why I say skill slots ideally 6, because then you only have to focus on 2 attributes. Obviously, after you've done all the 5 pets or however many pets you want, up to 7 ideally, you can start working on trying to get 7 and everything, but you can't really worry about getting more than 3 intelligences. So although I have follow up on here as a passive skill, I don't have the ability, because I have Pain Bloom and I have Forceful Pain Bloom, to get that. So follow up's passive ability and his ultimate form, both being intelligence, really means that the only pet that could benefit from both follow-up and the ultimate follow-up skill is potentially Thunder Lizard, which has the skill Tempest, rage skill, and it's a intelligence skill. But as far as I can find, I can't find like the ultimate form of Tempest to know what type it is. So if you guys know what it is and I'm just crazy, please let me know. I went through and tried to find every single one, couldn't find it, which might kind of segue into the Quirks video that I want, or the Quirks portion of this video, which is things that need to kind of be fixed. The first one is arrogance. If you look up here on this symbol, it is the agility symbol. And if you look down here, it says determined by intelligence. Now I do have a ticket open to support to figure out which one or which answer is the correct answer. And it is actually based off of agility, in which case I'll probably re-roll this pet, or I'll look for a 1-star and hope when I release it, I get terrible arrogance back. We'll see what happens. The second thing that is wrong with this is actually in relationship to a pet, and that is the Venomous Lizard. If we look at the Venomous Lizard's abilities, it's going to say that it is based off of magic. However, if we use it in battle, it does not base it off of magic. It does base it off of physical. And those screenshots, while I could not find one readily available, I again have it open to support so I can get a screenshot for myself and post it in my Discord. However, they are on the official Discord page. They're inside of other Discords as well. And again, I will be getting one from support so that way I can back my word up. I guess the last thing to really talk about is which pet I think is best for which situation. And this really is a which pet do I think is best for each situation, because unfortunately we don't really have much PvP in most servers, right? We're winding down from season 1. Most servers have some form of peace treaty so that people can grow before season 2. And so it's hard to say like de facto this is the best one, because I don't have the luxury of testing that. But from initial speculation, initial reading of skills, When going for infantry, Crossbear definitely seems high on the list. It gives a shield. It definitely is a solid pet. However, when we look at Venomous Lizard, since it is physical, seems really, really good because whenever a normal attack happens on its passive, it has X amount of chance to deal poison to the opponent, dealing continuous damage, triggering up every 1 second, which basically means that you can continuously cycle through this and you can infect mages, archers, and things like that to deal damage to backline heroes that maybe you couldn't reach in any other situation. So it's definitely a solid option for tanks, but that's just speculation. Again, Crossbear with all abilities sounds great. Now, for those that love Stripe Bear, the reason that it's not great is because healing is worse than shields. It just ends up sending more troops to the infirmary or the hospital because healing can only heal lightly wounded troops. It cannot heal dead troops. So it sends more to the hospital and ultimately can make your ability to continue in the fight more and more difficult. Now, when we talk about archers, this goes back to Venomous Lizard. It can deal damage for poison that synergizes with Gwyneth, and they get hit by mages, they get hit by Calvary, so they have a lot of normal attack damage. And also Snow Peak Rock definitely has a solid spot because Snow Peak Rock, his passive is to increase physical damage, 30% damage to deal when the Legion inflicts defense break. So that brings to mind, Kanara, if Kanara's awakened, Nico on his normal attack deals defense break. So there's definitely possibilities there that definitely sound very advantageous to archers, not to mention the talents you could pick up to benefit this. The third type of troop to look at is going to be magic. Now, there's two different ways to look at magic. You can either look for the absolute best one. However, there is a possibility, the meta being PvP right now, is 1 tank, 2 archers, 2 mages. And you could always run 2 of the pet I'm about to talk about. But it's also interesting to talk about like Ice Lizard going with a Velian Waldir setup or something like that. However, the de facto best pet right now for mages is going to be Sapphire Faedrake. It has flying, so it can fly with Celestials. And if we look at its talent, it deals damage to target Legion and 1 Legion surrounding it. Okay, nothing impressive. But each time you inflict Scorch, Freeze, or Ensnare, Scorch being Liliana, Freeze being Velian, or Ensnare being Alwyn, Kingdom deals more damage the next time it is cast. And here, the way that it's written makes it believe that it can be up to plus 0.6% up to max of plus 40%. Again, I have a ticket out to support, and the answer to those tickets will be inside of my Discord. The last troop type to talk about is Calvary, and this one, again, hard to verify, but if you're looking at the new flying hero for Calvary that comes out in season 2, which personally I run Eagles, so that's what I'm doing, Berserker Faedrake definitely goes with him really, really well. If we look at Berserker Faedrake's abilities, it has things such as bleed, and then it also has things like the passive or the talent, which each debuff inflicted on an enemy legion grants 1 stack of Fierce Mark, inflicting cowardice, grants on extra 2 stacks, and the new flying hero does that, so it definitely pairs very well with the new flying hero. Now, if you're not running them, Golden Rock seems to appeal highly with Emrys. My only fear with this is that Emrys seems to be falling out of meta with the 2 new Calvary coming out, because Bakshi is great for DPS, and so I don't know if Emrys is going to have a place. Because of that, I've gone into Berserker Faedrake as a fact that I'm an Eagle player, and I'm not honestly sure if Goldenrod is going to stay in meta. That being said, Goldenrod could definitely go with the new hero that's coming out. It could go with Bakshi, but I just don't have 100% confidence in it. So I want to use my 5 tokens or tickets in order to get pets that I feel comfortable and confident will be in next season. You guys, I hope you enjoyed the video. I much appreciate the support. Huge shout out to my Patreon. Thank you so much for supporting me all this time and taking care of me. Thank you for the DMs, the love and courage. If that thing is for you, please, the link is down in the description below. And if that's not for you, consider subscribing, liking this video. Definitely helps out the page a ton. You can catch me on Discord. I am the #1 talker there. Or you can catch me on K102. Until next time, y'all. Stay humble, stay happy, stay hungry. Bye, y'all.